Hey traders, good morning. Steve Federal here, FXESTrader.com. Today is Tuesday morning, the 22nd of October. Welcome to the trading room. This particular one is being recorded today because I am taking what I hope to be an outside in trade. So I'm short 44.5 and 44 for all of the reasons that we've been teaching in the room here. And let me just quickly go through the review here, and we'll hopefully get the numbers and stuff for the day. Let's start off with yesterday's high of 42.5. Low was 34.75. Settlement 38.25. Value area high 39.50. POC 38.50. Value area low is 36.50. Keep in mind the singles still exist. 25.75, 19, 17, 13.5. Yesterday was a low volume day. And let's go ahead and jump back into the meat of the review here. Feel free to log into the members only section, guys, and take a look at the short-term thesis. I'm not going to review that with you right now. Let's just go ahead and get into the review. So essentially for the next couple of days, any gains, at least in my opinion, from 42 to 45 should contain this move. That's for a whole host of reasons, almost 6 areas of confluence up there. The employment figures came out this morning after obviously the long delay, and futures are up currently about 5.5. Typically, the reason I take a trade like this is because over time, anytime you've seen a large move outside of value and or up, you just trying to seek new value, which we may have sought out yesterday, and then you have an additional news-driven move that pushes us up even further, even lower than that initial move. The propensity to want to get back into balance once the RTH session opens up is pretty high. So that's a big reason I'm short right now, plus a whole host of other reasons. But not the normal setup that you would think. I mean, this particular setup is a previous day's high plus 2 to 3, that whole range of 1 point that I typically will trade. So that's one big reason I'm short at this currently. There was nothing really on the footprint, with the exception of an incomplete auction just under 45, that was somewhat capped. Nothing really great. I mean, it is Globex. Market does open in 10 minutes. So nothing as far as a large sell side imbalance. But we're seeing a little sell sides cap both the tops of these footprint bars. So maybe an additional area is why I'm short. And you could sort of add to everything else as far as the confluence of yesterday. I mean, there's just a ton of stuff up here. So anyway, keep in mind the value area yesterday was small and overlapping the prior day, which is indicative of a trend that is old. Okay, when the value area is small like that, I'm generally not thinking of responsive trade at either end of it. Again, another reason I'm short. It's easier to topple over when it squat like it did yesterday. So yesterday's TPO POC at 38.50 is prominent, and obviously it's going to be the big target for this particular trade. And if we do see a liquidation break, certainly that's the ultimate target for the vast majority of this trade be off at that point. So 17.44.75 currently is the high. It could get taken out by a couple of ticks. It's entirely possible on this trade. So we often talk about looking for a liquidation break depending upon how the overnight inventory is, which is long. So we're looking for, if we don't see a new high, we're certainly look to get back inside yesterday's trade area, hence the outside in trade. And, I certainly hope, that'll be true again today. But, I think we may have some inventory to work through off of the open here. So whenever you have a gap that is happening on the tail end of a 8 days higher, you have to assume it's not that smart money. It's really just, probably short squeezing today. So I think of the ES the same way that I would a stock that's making a retail gap after a huge run higher. I generally have more confidence to try and step into a short early for a fade in these scenarios. As always, context and tempo are everything. So just taking a quick look at the profile. Let me back out of the screen. Just take a quick gander over at the composite first. Okay, here is where we are. Essentially not that many days up here. We've got now 7 days of trading up in no man's land up here as far as any of the high or low volume node composite lines on this. So 38.75, 36 and a quarter. Ultimately, you want to see 38.75 to have the majority of this trade-off, 36 and a quarter being my ultimate target. We still have obviously gaps to fill from the previous day, and it's a bunch of stuff down there obviously where the singles have formed from 25.50 all the way to 28.50 as far as that being high volume node. Note on these two moves at the bottom, both of the moves have really come on lower volume. I mean, look at yesterday's volume. We barely cracked 1 million in the ES. I mean, I didn't get the numbers on the big S&P contract, but I got to believe it was probably under about 6,000 or 7,000 cars for the day. So real small volume. And I'll double check that as well. So that's it for the composite. Let's move down into the profile. You guys can see the B-shaped profile, and then when the numbers broke for the jobs, keep in mind if you guys did not see the numbers, the unemployment rate about 7.2%, 148,000 jobs added in September. You keep in mind a lot of this stuff has been delayed because of the shutdown of the government. Now these numbers are coming out. I guess the market seems to think that these numbers are good in the beginning. I think this is mostly a BS move. So notice also that 42 marked a single. Okay, no surprise, we ripped up here. Single is unconfirmed. So we have 6 more minutes trading above this to confirm it. I don't hold much regard for that particular single. Okay, it was formed on news that was really a squeeze in my opinion after a big move up. I still think we need to do more balancing in this area, so my bet is that it's going to be an outside-in trade. All right, so I mean, obviously yesterday's high, 42 and a 50 here is the move high for the RTH session. Okay, Globex has obviously extended that, but notice it stopped right at the plus 2.5. So oftentimes that range of plus 2 to plus 3 is, I mean, the win rate on this historically is really high, especially after what has taken place. So it's a big reason I'm short. All right, so what else do we want to note about the profile? So I mean, obviously the key target for this being 38.50 in my opinion, which is basically both the POCs from yesterday, right in that 2-tick range. Settlement is right there as well as the value area high. So there's a whole mass load of things there between basically 38 and 39.50 that would be the reason I'd shoot for targets. So I'm going to keep this target a little more flexible. Keep the stop on this probably up there at 46 and a quarter. So if we rip above that, looks like we may be headed higher for more continued value. My bet is we're not going to do that. So that is, just in a quick nutshell, the profile. Notice the B-shaped. If we take a look at session 31 footprint, so essentially just the Globex volume that's forming, we have, ever since we've ripped up to this point, we've been running around about a plus 10,000. We've just recently increased a little bit on that as far as delta for the day. We're up closer to 14 now. Okay. I think that's being a little evasive this morning, though. I mean, it's just, I'm not seeing, you know, on the volume breakdown, a continued move up. I'm seeing a little bit of a balance through the last 3-5 range bars. So we'll look to see, you know, how that plays out. But I have the review posted if you guys want to log into the members only section and check it out right here. And, you know, keep in mind that, you know, a neutral on a potential stall out as we saw yesterday. And now a big squeeze this morning. Going to go a little bit through some of yesterday's trade just real quickly as well. We had, if you guys want to split the charts out, be able to see this better. We had a pretty good trade in here yesterday. And let me just split the charts out real quick so we can see that. Okay, so here is yesterday's profile split out. And you can see that we basically took the short right off of the rip higher that happened right at 42. Best scales off of that were 6 points and 7 points, depending upon where you got an execution. Okay, so and then essentially we just chopped around the rest of the day and into Globex. So there was really no trade to speak of. A little bit of a retrace, although realistically it wasn't showing anything back up there at 1740. We sort of, we hit, 36 and we bounced and we dropped all the way to 34.75 on the bottom. I got a +7 on this trade, which was nice. I was actually expecting us to break further lower. As you can see underneath, just looking at this profile, underneath yesterday's low at 34.75, probably have a whole bunch of stops. Okay, my bet is that pocket of stops is bigger than any pocket of stops that may be above us right now. So let's just sort of have that as an additional reason why I'm short this current area. Okay, really nothing going off up there at the top to any large degree. Little bit of a larger sell and balance up there than we've seen in any of these previous taps up around 44.5 prior to the open here. So keep in mind the U.S. economy added about 23% fewer jobs in September than in August. So if you're wondering why the dollar's taking a dive, you now know. Keep in mind I'm running the dollar on a 240-minute chart right now. So the fact that we're down here at a very low level we haven't seen in quite a while in the dollar. Obviously the euro is up above 3,700, which we have not seen in quite a while. Okay, let's see how we act on the footprint up here. Okay, right up against 45 right here. Still running some stops. Keep a close eye on that volume breakdown as well as the NYSE internals. ES currently up 6.25. Better size on that sell and balance up there. Best we've seen of all of Globex so far. Now we're in RTH. Ideally, we want to see quick rejection away from that 45 area. Don't know that this has been that quick so far. I'd ideally like to see quicker rejection, get us back inside yesterday's range. So far, seeing an open auction. Yeah, good morning, Ryan. Sorry, I know there's a bunch of questions that showing up in the room here, but essentially short 44 and 44.50. I may add to this trade depending on how this looks. I understand we need to run some stops. This market's continuing to climb a wall of worry here. Okay, so keep in mind also that DeMarc, we have the potentially perfected daily sells on equity setting up if we record at 9 today. Okay, just as I had mentioned yesterday when we were on that short, it was another reason I was looking for us to record a 9, but we did not. So there's still a chance that we could record what's called a 9-13-9 sell setup on the S&P, which is a fairly powerful exhaustion tip end, if you will. More likely we will not record a 9 if we get back inside yesterday's and potentially finish lower. Okay, I just added here 45 3/4. Algos are in stop hunting mode, as you can see up here. Looks like they're catching a fair amount of retail off guard. A lot of folks walking in, probably surprised at this move. Let me know, guys, if any of the sound is not coming through clear. You know, I'm running a Camtasia recorder in addition to GoToWebinar. Typically this will work for about an hour or two, and then things get a little fluttery, so I'll turn off the recorder. I just thought this would be an opportunity to record a good outside-in trade for all the members, put it up on the cloud for everybody to see. Okay, I'm going to switch my other footprint. I'm going to keep this one on session 31, but I'm going to switch my other footprint back to a session 2, so we can just follow the RTH volume. Okay, starting to see some sell imbalances here build up. Ideally, you know, our first target on this one is going to be 42. I have just under a 45 cost on this, and ideally I'd like to see this under 42. That may give us a better shot to, you know, obviously get back inside of yesterday's value area and yesterday's range as well. Okay, guys, I'm flat here. I just do not like what I'm seeing with this 44. Out at 44 1/4 on this trade. Ideally, my stop would have been a 46 1/4, but I just don't like what I'm seeing. So, that a potential for this thing to just absolutely rip. I probably should be long right here, but so be it. Tech spike was about 750 on that move. All right, guys, I took a crack up here at 17.50 and a quarter. Trying to get in the habit of logging these. See if I can get back some losses here. Keep in mind, way down there, we do have confirmed singles at 42 on Globex. A couple of ticks underneath the low of yesterday. So far, we have an open test drive was our open type. This is just not willing to retrace. Yeah, I mean, for just keeping in mind with the stops and stuff, um, we're at a 200 hooked. I mean, we're outside the Keltner bands. I mean, there's a whole host of reasons up here, Bob. I want to be short. I mean, the reasons are getting longer and longer, which is, obviously smarter traders are seeing the same thing. We're all getting short and the algos are ripping us out. So, at some point, we're just going to have the patience to let this sort of begin to fizzle out, and I'll be right there waiting for it. Context so far, Rose is showing us that it's an open drive. It's a potential trend day up with possibly a couple of distributions coming. I'm hoping I'm wrong, obviously, on that assessment because I'm short here at 50 and a quarter. And we're absolutely running stops up here. So, quite frankly, yesterday, I thought that the 42 thing would have contained us for at least a couple of days and gone back and filled in some of the incomplete auctions at a lower level. But, here we are 8 points higher, now almost 9 points higher, and we're just continuing to rip. So, also be on alert today for the fact that we have a 913.9 DeMark sell setup that more than likely will complete today. Okay, so, and there's also a potential for, not that it's written in stone yet, but there's a potential for a shooting star pattern here on the daily chart. Okay, if you guys don't know what shooting star is, Google it because it's a fantastic reversal pattern. Yeah, no kidding. Sell programs no longer exist. They may come into play again. The only market can only stay out of imbalance for so long, Yeah, I guess in hindsight that would be the case, huh? But please tell me what you saw that would have led you to believe that we should just get long 44, go against the normal trade setup, and then, see this thing essentially rip up 7 points on us. So if you can actively demonstrate to me, and I know, Ryan, you like to play devil's advocate, that's cool, but if you can actively demonstrate to me why that we should have taken that, I'm all ears. Hindsight is always 2020, my good man. So up here at 51, a little bit of a sell side imbalance building. Got a lot of volume going off up here, okay? Always want to be on alert for that type of pattern at these big moves up, or these sort of big spikes as we're way outside of everything, okay? So the argument to be short here is strong. Look at all the volume that's building. If you guys don't have this chart built in, you can see it right here. We have 4 boxes already. Delta for the day has ripped essentially from 18,783 to 37,195. At some point this is going to exhaust itself and retrace. Question is when. Okay, here comes another rip of buying up here. Stops galore. This has been a much easier trade if I just got long 44. Be up 8 points right now. I'm going to add to this trade a 52. Keep in mind, a lot of the relative strength index ratings are all over 80. I mean, we're up in nosebleed section here. I mean, I don't know that I disagree with that, Bob. I mean, certainly the the not shorting up here is, till you sort of see some break I have a tendency to fight the trend. I think it makes for, even though it may be a losing proposition today for me, I think it makes for a much more razor sharp trader. So if you can sort of tune yourself in, and I mean, ideally, the best thing to do would have taken a 44 and a quarter, but at the time, I was really looking for us to gun under 44 on that trade. So, it's I don't know, maybe it's a little bit of revenge trading today for me. We certainly are seeing some volume up here. No question about that. First target for this would be 48. You can see it right on the footprint. Got to get underneath 48, if we will at all. We could just rip all day. It's entirely possible. Although I think that at some point where it's going to be capped today and it's just going to crash back, either at the late in the day or certainly into tomorrow or Globex tonight. The trade may not be today, but we'll keep pointed on it. We have buyers stepping in. Big old squeezer. Yeah, this is definitely panic, Bob. There's no question about that, man. I mean, this is just panic buying. Some point this is going to exhaust itself. I want to be there. Yes, Peter, 50 and a quarter and 52. And I see under that we need to get underneath there at 48. Ultimately target 44. If in fact we even see that today. Chances are looking slim. We see 44. Just from the Twitter stream, I see people just taking pop shots of this all the way up, which means it just can continue to rip them and have some banner day so that the news media can go on a parade and Obama and the White House can take a victory lap for something they had no idea even how it formed. Yeah, wow, look at that. McClellan oscillators plus 236 now. Whew. Jeez. Our balanced target for those measuring is 1754 as an extension beyond 1750. Not that it matters. Let the lunacy play out. Yeah, I have. I've lost all of yesterday's profit, Ryan. So be it. I'm back to flat for the week now, unless this trade turns around on me. Yeah, there's some advice I should listen to. Well, we have the two biggest that we've seen on this move up at the top of both of these bars here. The not the one we're working on, but the previous bar, the 0 by 263 that you see up there in 1642. That coupled with the previous, these are both essentially 10-to-1 sell side imbalances. These are both the biggest that we've seen so far in this move up. first amount of distribution that we've seen this entire move up, other than around 44. So see if we can get some movement here. Back down. Yeah, if you had just come in late, Frank, I took shots at 50 and a quarter and 52, so I'm still a little bit underwater right here. First target on this one, Frank, is 48. I know that's kind of far down there, but I'd really like to see my first profit target at 49 get filled, and then 48. So essentially those two price points. Rose up from the 52s. That was a +3 so far. Little heavier on the size here, so just trying to focus on this trade. So just bear with me, guys. Yeah, that's right. All the spaghetti at the wall up there, Ryan. That is correct. Guess I could categorize that as a little bit of revenge trading. Revenge for the strong moves up this morning on the big old squeezer. So essentially just looking at the profile, 48 and 46 and a quarter. Okay, guys? Next two areas of, in my opinion, support. Now, if we've gotten everybody long and we've ran every short out of Dodge, those aren't going to be support levels at all. We're just going to cut right through them at some point. So, but let's see how we go here. Notice the daily delta has gone negative on session 2, which you guys cannot see. So let me switch this one as well over to session 2. By the way, I got an execution on the 48s. Okay, so here's just the footprint. We don't really need anything else. I mean, you guys kind of can see how the profile is building. This is beginning to look like what's called a blow off top or a shooting star pattern. See how delta's gone negative, volume breakdowns. Almost got us back below, for point of reference. We're just under the 930 level now. So even though the market's still up 9 3/4 points, we're underneath as far as the uptick downtick volume, the 930 open. Does that make sense? Let's see if this can play out. Get an execution here, hopefully at 47. Okay, good. Execution's off 47. We'll take that +5 for you bastards. 46 and a quarter, and obviously decisively under 44. Under 44 it could be a real waterfall, which I'm hoping for obviously here. So I'm actually going to take a little bit more off down here as well. All right, so I get two fills on this at 46 and a half. Just trying to lighten up some size here. Yeah, it was pretty heavy up there, Ryan. Now, I typically won't mention that to the room because I don't want people just, putting some sort of cowboy gunslinger trade on up there. you know, and taking a big hit. I mean, that the rejection off of the 54. And I guess at some point this is going to be, certainly a teaching example. I don't know how, this is just it's an extreme on both sides right now. So if we can get under 44, you guys, we're probably going to rip into yesterday's range. Because we're going to have just almost as an excessive amount of late to the game breakout longs caught on this move as we were shorts that were getting squeezed up like myself. Nothing to read on this up there as let's take a quick look back at the profile here. This is crazy. Note that rollover in Delta. This is a little better view here. Coming back down inside getting hopefully closer to 44. All right, Ryan, good job, brother. Were you a fool in adding to this all the way up like me? I really wish I had added it at 54. I was already pretty heavy at that point, so I was just looking for hopefully a quick rejection, which we got. Well, at least we can say volatility's back, right, guys? Next target for me is 44. Sorry, Ryan. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take off. Great sell volume coming in. Need to see this more. Give us more. Oh yeah. Delayed execution. What's going on? All right. Nice. Oh yes. Double TPOs at the low. Hopefully you guys can see the bid has dried up. Let's see if we can get back into yesterday's range. How about the potential also beyond the... How about the potential for this, guys? How about an island reversal candle on the daily? How about that? Oh man, this is outstanding. All right, so I'm going to take some more off here at, oh jeez. I'm not getting the best executions here. What the hell? All right, so I got fills here at 43. 42. Notice the bounce off of yesterday's low. Expecting a retrace. Probably would take a shot here, guys, by the way. Although it's not going to be a perfect setup, I probably would take a shot at a slingshot short again if we can get back up towards 45. Keep in mind this is wild, so if you guys want to stay off this and sit on your hands, that's fine. But anything below 48, longs don't really make sense at this point. So I'd be looking to when you get back down in yesterday's range, it's probably a high chance that we're going right to that POC. So just keep that in mind. If we can get back down inside yesterday's range, probably a pretty good chance that the algos may rip us to 38.5, where I will be taking one of my last scales. So there's a little bit of a bounce. Notice this is not setting up for a slingshot just yet. So if you guys want to be super picky, that's fine. If you miss the trade, no be it. I have as a oh, come here. This is absolutely crazy. Look at this. Stand behind. This is just nuts. Whoa. So for again a couple folks that are just joining us, it's been a wild day to say the least. Took a 1.5 point stop out and sort of fought the fight up there, getting short at 50 and 50 and a quarter at 52, and getting lucky enough to catch not the best execution, but catch around the top, and subsequent almost 10 point. Well, heck, if we look from top to top, almost a 13 point sell off on this. So I caught scales all the way down. You guys can see that posted in the room if you want to look. Trying to post more stuff in the room here. Now this 47 short really needs to hold. In this particular case, this is a type of short where you can have a really tight stop on it. You can have a stop at 17.48 on this, because if we get above there, more than likely we're going to rip up again. Up down volumes now under 2 to 1. Yes, thank you, Bob. I appreciate that. I was taking some heat, but it paid big. Right at the VWAP here, guys. So bulls are trying to hold this. Kevin. Good luck, gentlemen. I got about a quarter size left, Ryan. I'm on. Really, ideally, want 38.5. Bulls are battling it here. Dip buyers think they got it. See if it plays out. My bet's on the shorts. Ryan, I have a stop on this at 51.50. That's the California code for the criminally insane, which is certainly turning some of us into today. All right, so Ryan, Kevin, whoever else is short this, we want to see a decisive break of obviously 42. Okay, nothing's changed. Got to get below 44, and looks like we may need to see another wave of selling coming in here. Ultimately, the goal there is 38.50. Yes.